Hello, we are getting ready to start lesson 4 in module 4. Okay, things are a little different today. You need to make sure that you do the application problem, the word problem, after you watch the video and do the problem set. Okay, so it's a little different than what we've been doing. You're going to do this problem after you watch the video and do the problem set. Alrighty, so you need to remember that when you're doing this problem, you need to use cubes so that you're circling the numbers, underlining the question, boxing the keywords, Xing out extra information, and setting your problem up to solve it. So I'm going to tell you that there's not a sprint today, and again, this is a little different. You're going to do this problem after you do the problem set after you've watched the video. So you're going to be figuring out, I'm just going to read it over with you and at least get you set up. Carlos bought 61 t-shirts. He gave 29 of them to his friends. How many t-shirts does Carlos have left? Hey, I just helped you with cubes. I've circled the numbers, I've underlined the questions, I've boxed keywords, and there was no extra information. Your job is going to be to set the problem up and to solve it. So watching the video today is going to be very important. Then be sure that you work these problems after you've watched the video. You're going to work these problems after you've watched the video on the problem set. Please be certain on each one, I'm going to go back. Please be certain on each one of these problems. Whoops, sorry, got a few papers mixed up there. When you do each one of these problems, you need to show the bar model for each one of these so that I can see your compensation for each of these problems. Also, when you're on the back side, you're going to need to show the compensation with the bar model on all of these problems. I'm going to want to see the compensation because when you do the exit ticket, again, you are going to need to show me the tape diagram or the bar model so that I can see your compensation. If you don't understand what I'm talking about, you need to go back and re-watch the video with Mrs. Chin. Because this whole lesson is dealing with compensation with addition and subtraction. So this part of the video is going to be pretty short simply because you need to watch the video, work the problem set, both the problem sets, then you are going to do the word problem, and then you are going to do the exit ticket. So you have a lot to do before you're finished with this particular assignment. I'm going to ask you to shut the video off, and then I am going to show you the answer key to all of these problems, and then it will be your job to send the exit ticket to your teacher. Okay, pause the video. Are you back? All right, so remember this problem should have been done. In fact, you know what? We are going to go over to this first because you really should have done these problems before you did the word problem. So let's go ahead and take a look at the problem set. Man, sometimes I get frustrated that that doesn't show up as good as it should. So your original problem was 23 take away 9. If you use your compensation model or the tape model, you had to add 1 to 23 to get 24, and you had to compensate by adding 1 to 9 to get 10. It's much easier to add when you're adding tens, so that's why we're doing the compensation, so that, subtracting tens. So that's why we did the compensation to bring 9 up to 10, and doing that I also had to add 1 to 23 because 24 take away 10 is 14. So 24 take away 10 is 14. You need to follow that same procedure for each one of these problems. I'm hoping that you showed the compensation tape model for each one of these as you came up with 13, 21, and 19. Make sure you show the compensation model for each problem, and if you need to pause the video so you can check your work, that would be great. Now I'm going on to the second side. The second side, same thing, except this time we're doing the addition. And you are going to need to show the compensation model. You started off with 29 plus 46. So I know that if I just rearrange where I'm putting my compensation, my answer will always be the same. So I started off with 29 here. If I add 1 to 29, I'm going to get 30. That means I'm going to be adding, I could say, that would still be 29 plus 46. But when I add that 1, I get 30 plus 45. 30 plus 45 is easier to add. 30 plus 45 is 75. If this is confusing to you, please go back and watch Mrs. Chin a second time and then continue to practice compensation with addition the same. So again, each one of these problems, you should show your compensation problem as Mrs. Chin showed you today. B should be 83, 90, and 95. Now, once you have completed that, then you can go ahead and go back and try your word problem. So on your word problem, we're using compensation again. We had Carlos who bought 61 shirts. He gave 29 of them away. We're trying to find out how many he gave away. So in order to make this easier to work, to do numbers that are easier in your head, I did compensation by adding 1 to 29, which gave me 30. And if I add 1 to 29, I also have to add 1 to 61 so that I get 62. 62 take away 30 is a lot easier to do in your head, giving me 32. Therefore, he had 32 shirts that were left. There you go. So using the compensation for a subtraction makes this kind of a problem much easier to do because you can do it in your head. And after you did all the practice pages, this one should not have been very difficult for you. At this point now, you are going to move on to your exit ticket. And again, you need to show the compensation problem or the compensation tape model for addition, this problem, as well as subtraction. When I am looking at this to check whether or not you have it correct, if you don't have the compensation tape model on both of these, I will ask you to redo it. And of course, number 2, you have a word problem. You're going to need to read that word problem. You're going to need to use cubes. And you're also going to need to use read, draw, and write. I will expect a word answer as well. We've been doing a lot of these over the course of the last couple of months, and so I'm going to expect to see all parts of the cubes of the word problem. Remember, I also have to see the compensation tape model or bar model for each of these problems. So there'll be one here, and one here. Okay, and with that, this is going to be a short video, and I wish you the best success today. If you're finding that this is difficult, may I strongly suggest that you go back and rewatch the Eureka video. Okay, you have a great day of learning, and we'll talk to you later.